Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, going live. Hope you guys are well today. Today is Monday, Labor Day. Hope you guys labored this morning with a good workout. Um, but anyway, hope you're more people come in to listen today, perhaps. So you guys got the day off. Enjoy it. Last official weekend of summer, I guess. So that means we're about to transition into the fall. And what are you going to do before you transition into the fall? We typically, in fact, here's what we're actually doing. This next week, as we get closer to the fall season, we have an assessment we have to do. That's a good one. It's a pretty much everything that we've been working on over the summer. We are going to assess, see how we are performing, because that is one way, and really the only way, to make sure what you are doing is actually working, right? Because if you're not assessing, everybody knows this, you're only guessing. So, anyway, it's a long list of assessments and everything from the PST, the IFT, whatever your fitness test is. We do that. We do specific selection events depending on what you are preparing for, whether it's an academy or it's a spec ops selection. There are assessments, and usually we do it one of two ways. It's either week 1 of the fall season or it's week 13 of the summer season, which either way it's the same one. It's usually a 12-week cycle, and then we go into the next week to have the next cycle of focus, and that fall transition into the winter lift cycle is what we are doing. So here is what we are doing, right? And if you can't see that, it is here's an assessment to ask yourself after we've been focusing primarily on calisthenics and cardio all summer. PST scores, things like that. We have how high on the level of pyramid could you keep going without failing? Just a question. It's we do multiple pyramids throughout the cycle. It's just one of those ways to build up some volume. Where do you fail on that thing? Is it 10? Is it less than 10? Can you go up to 15? That's pretty good. What's your goal pace for your 400s and your 800s and your mile and a half, 4-mile timed runs? What's your goal pace for 50-50 workouts? What's your 400 or 500 meter, 500 yard swim time? What's 1,000, 2,000 meter swim with fins? What's 4-mile timed ruck? What's your Sam Baby Murph time? Or maybe not time. I'd just rather you do it. I hate to time workouts like that because people just get crappy, really crappy form. Can you do the drown proofing test? And then we get into some weights because we're about to transition into the fall and winter lift cycles. So I want to see at the beginning where their strengths are, right? What's your body weight bench press, max reps? What's your squat? 1.5 body weight. Can you do it? Can you do 1.5 body weight of deadlift? Can you do it? If you can't, that's okay. What is it? And if you can you go a little higher? Can you go up to 2 times your body weight? Those are types of questions that I like to ask going into these cycles, just so I know where people are in the spectrum that is fitness, especially the guys that train with me and myself. I like to know these things just because, one, I haven't lifted that hard in the last 12 weeks. Maybe every month we did a lift week, but I like to know where I am and can I get those better by the end of the lift cycle. Typically, yes, it happens. But we also try not to lose our cardio while we're getting a little stronger. So here's some ideas. I just came up with this article today, and it is all about um, the types of assessments you can do. So check these out. These are, in fact, let me pull this up over here. So you can do your military fitness test, always a good assessment. Even guys who've gotten out long ago, I know many of us still like doing the PST just because it's something we used to do. See where we rank compared to our previous decades. You know, test yourself in some spec ops selection events. You know, what's your ruck? What's your 2 mile swim? What's your 4 mile timed run? You know, those type of things. You know, that you can easily test. Don't neglect strength training testing. You know, test the big three: bench, squat, deadlift. Where are they? Include endurance training. Variety of training. We already talked about some of them, but don't skip your endurance test. You know, if you like doing stair steppers or bike, you know, assault bikes, test yourself. One of the great assault bike tests I've seen recently is 22 and a half minutes max power. What can you do? 5 minute max power and a 22 and a half minute max power. One of the SEAL retired SEALs now created this one, and he correlated it with success and failure and, you know, of selection. So it may have some validity to it. Not sure. Still checking it out. But, you know, anything on the assault bike tends to make you see Jesus real quick. Get in the water. Assess all your pool skills. Can you tread? Can you tread with no hands? Can you do underwater swimming? You know, is your technique up to par? Can you do drown proofing, life saving? Do you know your knots? You know, these are just basic assessments that you should test. And then there's the classic ones for folks that, you know, maybe not trying to serve, but, you know, what's your weight? What's your body fat? You know, are you trying to gain weight? Are you trying to lose weight? You need to take a look at your diet, and you take a look at, you know, what types of workouts are you doing to help you gain or lose that kind of weight that you're trying to do. You know, and also finally, don't skip your annual physical. You know, I got one tomorrow. In fact, I won't be live tomorrow. I'll be live Wednesday or Thursday. I have to do another makeup day. Took blood last week, and I have to go to the doctor this week. So it got extended another week. I thought I was going to have them back-to-back days, but I did not. So we'll do a CSS critique show later this week, so stand by. I won't be here tomorrow for that. But I am ready. That's the end of our intro. Looks like we've been at this for a few minutes now. Let's see. Where are we with questions? You guys got questions? Send them. All right. So, what are your thoughts? Here's some questions. What are your thoughts on SEALSwick online workouts? My thoughts on SEALSwick online workouts is they are good. I think they are a good starting point for many, but you gotta understand, you know, they are getting people interested in spec war that may not have any idea of what hard training is. So they're fairly beginner, early, intermediate, in my opinion. I think you could probably, and you should probably, use that as a starting point and then build up from there and progress into much harder workouts. I just think you need more volume. I think you need just a more comprehensive approach after you build that foundation, which I do think it is very good at building that foundation. So I'm not going to knock it because it's good. I just think it's doesn't take you to the level that I think you need to be. But it's a good place to start. So, any idea why the SEALSwick website was taken down? I don't know why you're asking me that. I don't know why. But if you look at it, it's still there. It's just under Big Navy now. So if you Google SEALSwick, it'll take you to Navy Special Warfare websites, and it still has all the information there. So just may not be as much. I don't know, be honest with you. It's not surprising. Things change all the time. Hello, Stu. I built up to 20 miles a week and started 2 through run program. Just want to ask what you expect by fast runs and timed. I run 400 intervals between 125 and 30, but I timed 1 mile at 6:55. Yeah, so there is a little bit of a difference. So when I say timed, I am curious what your time is. You should be curious too. So when I say 1.5 mile timed or 1 mile timed, time it. See where you are, right? I mean, and if you're putting out or not. So are you doing this at 80%? Is it 100%? Are you a nice steady pace that you can maintain for 5 more miles if you wanted to? Those are things you need to know. So time it, assess yourself. Once again, fast for me is a spectrum. So I have like steady pace, like easy pace workouts where, it's kind of a zone 2 zone workout. I have goal pace, which like what you're doing there for your 400 intervals at 130, that's a 6-minute mile goal pace. Looks like you're at 6:55 for your mile. That's a good, logical future goal for you, right? Go from 6:55 to 6 minutes, and you're going to get there by mixing in some runs that are at that 6-minute mile pace, right? The more you can put in together, back to back to back, the better. And you'll see that 6-minute mile pace turn into a 130 quarter, a 3-minute half mile. Next thing you know, you run a 6-minute mile. And that is goal pace timed. That's not a sprint. It's not a jog. Then there's fast runs, and I would put fast runs at, this is uncomfortable for me to sustain. Not quite a sprint, especially in the 400, 800 range. If I ever write 400 fast, that means this is faster than goal pace. I want you to push it. It's not a jog. It's not goal pace. It's fast. Now, do I want you to go down and try to break a minute? You know what? If you want to do the last one and see if you can break a minute, go for it. Put some effort into that last one. But my goal is to just have you run a little bit faster than your goal pace. And know the difference. Know how that feels. Because I will tell you this. There's a lot of internal awareness that goes on when you're running, right? I know my pace when I run because I can feel the cadence of my feet moving. I can feel my heart rate going up higher, my breathing rhythm, my arm swing. I know all these things, and I can say, because I've done all these paces so many times, is that, oh, okay, this is my 6-minute pace. This is my 7-minute pace. This is my 8-minute pace. And if you don't know that, you can really screw yourself up by starting a mile and a half and running that first lap in 75 seconds. Way too fast because you just haven't experienced pacing. And next thing you know, every lap after that gets 15 seconds slower to a point of where you're barely jogging on that 5th and 6th lap. I've seen it happen countless times. And then we fixed it by saying, you started out too fast, slow it down. Let's try to get that down to 90, 95 seconds. A week later, what was 10:45, 11-minute run, just by learning the pace and understanding the strategy of pacing, got him down to a 930. Same thing for sit-ups. I failed my first sit-ups test because I didn't pace myself. So this is how important pacing is, especially to running, swimming, and sit-ups. It's in a 2-minute sit-up test, that is. So that's the difference between fast, timed, and pacing, and jogging. Are weight vests of any benefit to implement in a workout? If yes, in what way? Or should I use a ruck? You can do some things with a ruck. Like I've lunged with a ruck, I've done squats with a ruck, but even done push-ups with a ruck. Not fun, but pull-ups with a ruck, it just completely jacks you up. Unless you put another ruck on the front, then it's a little bit easier. But it's more of a balance. It feels more comfortable when you have a weight in the front and the back, kind of balances you out a little bit. But yeah, there's a big benefit. I will say this. We are about to do a whole lot of weight vest workouts in this fall transition because if you notice, we're mixing cals and cardio and weights all together. And what we do with that is we try to reduce the volume of our calisthenics by adding weight. You add a 20-pound weight vest to your push-ups and pull-ups and dips, it's going to reduce the volume that you're used to all summer, which is just a way of kind of giving the joint a break from high volume activity, build a little bit of strength in there. And then we use that as we transition into the winter phases where we do more focus on strength, but we're also going to have the PST and IFT and other fitness tests on the back burner, not neglecting them, but just maintaining them to a point where it's that block periodization model. We do 3 weeks of lifting, take a little deload from lifting, but focus on cals and cardio, just like we did all summer, just did it in reverse. So I found that to be a very useful way to do that, and weight vests are part of that process for me. See what else we got. What do you think about SOCOM athletes? I think those are great guys. They run a great program. If you want to do the test yourself in those whatever 24-hour hell days, I will tell you this. If I was a young guy wanting to test myself and I didn't have access to like the screeners and those type of programs at the Naval Academy that I had, I would definitely do them. So, and I had Justin, is it Justin? Jason Sweet on. He's the guy that runs it. He's on one of my podcasts. You can find it up on YouTube. Jason Sweet's the former PJ that runs it. And yeah, he runs a great show. Let's see what else we got here. No question. Oh, here we go. How do you learn to pace yourself? I just explained it. During my run, a 1.5 miles is 8:44, but I don't know if I could hit that without a pace tracker in my hand. Yeah, I mean, I just learned it this way. I had a watch. You can call it a pace tracker. You can call it a watch, whatever you want. And I had a track. And we would run the track, and I'd get that 90-second quarter mile, 3-minute half mile, 6-minute mile, and I'd feel it, and listen to yourself. Listen to how everything feels. What percentage would you say that level of exertion was? Those are things that if it's high and like it's, you're having to put out for a 9-minute 1.5 miles, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a 1.5 miles and it's a test. You should be putting out for it. However, if you build up your aerobic activity to a high level, a 6-minute mile gets easy. All right, you could do a 5:30 if you wanted to, or you could focus some of that energy on the swim if you suck at the swim. So everything becomes part of a strategy, and the more you learn how to pace, especially with the 3 exercises I think require the most pacing, and that's sit-ups, swimming, and running in the PST or the IFT, you're going to do better. But I will tell you this, if you're 844 now, you don't need me. I mean, that's great. That's a great run, especially if it's at the end of a PST. If it's an 844 fresh and an 844 at the end of the PST, that's a big difference because there's some strategy involved in performing well on the back end of a PST versus being fresh. Okay, got a lot of questions here just popped up. Hey Stu, all is well. Currently running 25 miles per week, 7 miles zone 2, Monday, Tuesdays, 1 mile zone 2, and then 4 miles at goal pace. I 1 mile shakeout on Wednesdays, 800s and 6:30 pace 1 mile. Hey, as long as it works, now assess yourselves. Check your mile and a half. Check your 4 mile timed run. Is that working? That's the only way to assess. You can do all these different workouts you want, but is it working for you? You got to assess. That's figure out what's going on. Is it your recovery that's screwing you up? Is it the workout that may not be right for you? Could be. You having bad night's sleep, that could interfere. Not eating well, not hydrating, especially in the summer, can really jack you up. All right, some of you guys, I can't tell if you're asking questions or what. So, all right, so then I cycle Saturdays for 40, 30 miles, 30 to 40 miles. What are your thoughts on this? Overdoing it or pretty well organized? It feels organized. Once again, whatever running plan you're doing, test yourself. Are you seeing results? If you're not seeing results, change something. I personally like, and I say this, I don't think there's one generic total mileage that works for people. I think everybody's a little bit different. I would say my low end of preparing for programs like Buds is like 25 miles a week. My high end, in the 30s, maybe 40. So somewhere in that range, depending on your level of ability to run. And do you need to be more of a cardio machine? I would go higher on that number. If you need to be less of a cardio machine and focus more on strength and other load bearing activities, could be a little bit lower. That's kind of my answer to mileage. So it kind of depends on you. Can I send a link for the PST? Come on, man. Have you tried Google? Navy PST? Put my name in the link. You'll see count. In fact, I'm going to do this for you. Navy PST, Stu Smith. All right. What do you have? Man, tons of stuff. First 3 articles, Stu Smith Fitness, Phase 1. I'm just going to send this to you. Start here. That'll tell you all about the PST. Well, actually, that's the program I use to train people for the PST. But the PST, come on. In fact, here's a 1 month challenge to kill the PST in 4 weeks. And it actually has the PST in here. Like when do you take the PST? It's in this article. Come on. Let me see here. Have you ever dealt with anterior tibialis tendonitis? I haven't had tendonitis since I was a teenager, so I can't really say I have. I don't really remember it that much. Been dealing with it on and off for about 2 years. I got it running 50 Ks so I think the volume was added too fast. Yeah, I would say. Usually that's the culprit. Look, I will tell you this right now. Most running injuries are too fast, too many miles, too much volume. Too many miles, too much volume. Too much weight. If you're a heavy guy running a lot, that's another one. That tends to bring pain on joints. Mileage was somewhere. Okay, what are you guys doing? Yep, I would say read some shin splint articles. I guess drop your mileage. I got a bunch of shin splint articles. You do Google Stu Smith shin splints. I got 2 or 3 articles. One was written with a doctor of physical therapy that's really good, and the other one is like, what type of workouts can you do to make your shins a little stronger? And you may have to give some time off of running and do more non-impact cardio. Got orders to AST. That's rescue swimmer. A school. Cool. I'm currently stationed on a cutter and following your TRX workout. That's one of my favorite workouts. I love that TRX. What are some of the best substitutions for running? Limited space. Bike workouts, probably my favorite. If I can't get into a pool, it's a bike workout. Whether that's a life cycle type bike, assault bike. There are many, many workouts that can get your heart rate up on those things, that can simulate running, even simulate swimming. In fact, I have these 3 bike workouts to I like to share. I put them on military.com. The best bike workouts to maintain your cardio when you can't run or swim. So check out this. That's the name of the title of the article here. If you're over here on YouTube, you can just click the link. It'll take you there. What are your thoughts on the sprint drag carry? Sprint drag carry is the Army combat fitness test exercise. I like it. Anytime that you are running to and from, like a shuttle, 25 meters one way, 25 meters back, fast. That's a different energy system that most fitness tests don't test. So you sprint down and back. You have to grab some kettlebells, run those down and back. And then you have to grab a sled, run those down and back. And then you get to sprint again one more time. That's a tough little challenge. And you want to do it as fast as you can. Working a whole lot of different activities. You could extrapolate a little bit and say, oh, this is like running to cover. This is like carrying ammo cans to a machine gunner. This is like medevacing somebody and pulling them out. So, there's some application to that test that I think is one of the reasons why I love the new tactical fitness tests that involve things other than push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups, and just running a mile and a half and swimming for 500 yards. It's a great test for cardio and muscle stamina. Not a great test for strength, speed, agility, power. All those things that you also need, when you're in the tactical professions. What's a good article you've written for someone just starting to understand periodization and the pyramids? I'm just starting and want to understand the concept you follow at the broadcast. You know what? If you Google Seasonal Tactical Fitness Periodization, right? I'm going to put this article right here. This is my definition of what that is, right? And then I wrote one article that has a little story to it. And this goes back all the way to when I first learned what the pyramid PT was all about. And I'm going to tell you a little story. I was a midshipman. Wasn't freshman year, it was sophomore year when I started getting interested in this. I started playing rugby. There were some guys that were, that were juniors and seniors that were preparing for buds, and they invited a group of people out to go do these SEAL workouts. And it was run by an active duty SEAL that was there at the academy. So it was my first time ever being amongst a group of guys that were getting after it like a SEAL candidate does. I had no idea. Remember, I originally went to the Naval Academy, wanted to be a pilot, wanted to be a football player. Didn't make the football team, wound up playing rugby, loved it. I think it was probably one of the reasons why I graduated that place. Just because of one, it was fun, two, it was challenging, and three, there were some great mentors on that team that just showed me how to make myself better, if that makes sense. So I go there and I got my butt kicked. Like, I didn't even finish the workout. I think we all went on a run afterwards. I was dead last. And I realized I had a lot of work to do. But you know what I did? I went back and I kept going back and I kept doing workouts like that. And I kept running harder and swimming harder. And we would go to rugby. We'd work out in the morning. Then we'd go to rugby practice after school. And then we'd run back and we'd stop by the pool on the way back to our dorms, and swim. And then we'd go study all night and just repeat that cycle over and over again. And that's what helped. That's what helped me kind of go into it. And the pyramid was a big part of that. So read that pyramid story and you might get a little history lesson of why I like it so much. I like bike, burpees, if you have limited space. Yep, I would agree with that. Burpees suck. And jump rope might be a good one for you as well. What do you recommend for knee pain due to hamstrings? I don't know, man. I would go to a physical therapist. I mean, I tend to stretch my hamstrings and I also strengthen my hamstrings. So I would do both. Foam roll them, stretch them, massage them, strengthen them. Looking to go to selection in about 2 years. What advice, aside from emphasize recovery, do you have for me at currently 26? My advice is assess yourself. Just like the title of this show is called Assessments. See where you are. See where your strengths and weaknesses are. And let that determine how you start your journey. I will say this. There is a phase 1 of tactical fitness that focuses on passing this fitness test in order to get accepted into the training. That would be probably a logical first place to start. Do you have any weaknesses on that? If not, no problem. Let's move into phase 2. Maintain your PST scores or fitness test scores, whatever those are, and focus on the actual events that are going to occur in your selection. Are you rucking? Are you swimming with fins? Are you doing diving, drown proofing, all these pool skills? Are you running more? All of that. So, load bearing. Are you carrying boats? Are you carrying logs? Carrying equipment? Is it team oriented? All of those things matter, right? So make sure that is part of your journey. And that's phase 2. Then you go do selection, and phase 3, you're operator of that program. Hey Stu, I'm 18 years old, shipping out in November for PJ. Any advice for someone my age? My advice is, you're young. Most young people, have a difficult time, and I'm not saying you will, but just realize that, being right out of high school, going into a program that requires performing at your absolute highest levels ever and beyond, living in a new town, meeting new people, all of those are really challenging for a new person, because now you're battling being homesick, missing your girlfriend, all these little things that just cascade through the brain of a young person who hasn't left home yet, and it just is harder. So I want you to realize that is natural, and don't let it get to you. Right? That's the best I can tell you. Normally, I would say, hey, don't be in a hurry to join at 18. Go at 20, 21. Go after college. Go after junior college. Get some EMT classes, while you're really training, and move away from home. Right? Try to see how that feels. But I'm not giving you that advice because you're about to ship. I wish you all the luck in the world. And my what I always tell people like you is prove me wrong. Be the 18-year-old that finishes that and has no problem. We've had several, so it's not impossible. It's just statistically, it's where most people, like in the SEAL training world, that's where most of the attrition occurs, is teenagers. So that's my generic answer for why I don't recommend teenagers to go. But at the same time, those who go, I want you to prove me wrong and prove statistics wrong, and just realize that there's some emotional things that you're going to have to endure. Don't fall prey to them. Focus on what you got to do and why you wanted to serve in that capacity in the first place. What scores are considered competitive SEAL PST right now? I'd say for me, I like to see people under 9-minute swim, 9-minute run, 80 to 100 push-ups and sit-ups, and 20 plus pull-ups. Let's see. What other questions we have here? Hey, Stu, I've worked up to 10 minutes, no hands treading. That's awesome. That's where you want to be. What are some other workouts and exercises you'd recommend to get comfortable treading and water confidence? My advice is do this one. I have a workout that is all about mixing in the drown proofing exercises into your swim workout. In fact, all of us do this on mobility day in our training. Like, all these workouts have a mobility day. It's kind of an easy, non-impact cardio stretch, foam roll, massage day. But afterwards, we go swim, and we do treading, we do drown proofing, we do life saving. All these little things that take technique, still some effort, take some water confidence to do. It's once a week. It's what we do. It's just like clockwork, and it works really well. So good job with that. That's what I would do. Did you see that? I put a link in the comment section over here on YouTube, but the article is called Workouts and Techniques That Help You Drown Proof Safely. But it's more than just drown proofing. Have you ever read Pavl's kettlebell workout? Oh yeah, love them. I think they're great. He's a great guy. I've talked to him on the phone many times. We've written articles together. He likes the pyramid. I like his kettlebell workouts. It's a great little synergy there. Much respect for him. Find the right running shoe training on the right surface before you join the military is important. Buy new shoes at least twice a year. That's good advice, Joseph. Let's see, what else? Looks like I have... Okay. I'm going all the way to the bottom here. Any tips for strengthening my ankles for buds? Yeah, strengthen the muscles that connect to your ankles. So heel raises, toe raises, foot exercises, all of those things. But the good news is I sprained my ankles probably 10 times each side before I went to buds. My ankles were really loose, weak. I was able to get through for two reasons. One, I did a lot of heel raise work, did a lot of calf work, Achilles work, bent knee, heel raises, gets that soleus in there. And you wear boots. So the boots actually provide all the support I needed to not have ankle sprain. I never sprained my ankle during buds. If there was an injury that I thought was going to occur for me, it would have been ankle sprain. Because, like I said, during football and rugby, I easily sprained my ankles 10 times each. And I'd just tape them up and go again, and just kind of sucked. Didn't really hurt that much when you ran straight, but if you ran on uneven ground or had to cut left or right, that's when it hurt. So you could still get away with it. But I will tell you this, any ankle sprains and trying to swim with fins, woo, that'll make you see Jesus real quick. It hurts. Let's see. Hey, Stu, thanks for all you do to prepare for selection. Should I revisit 12-week program or complete phase 2 and 4? I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, this is a great one. I mean, it's not specifically made for SWIC, but I will be honest with you. All my guys who go for SWIC train with the guys that are going to buds, and they do really well there. So it's not going to hurt you to train like that, for sure. Let's see. Appreciate it. Last question. Are you a big believer in running on grass for long runs? No beach access, so grass is closest to it, or road trail is fine. I diversify my running quite a bit. In fact, today was a hill day, which is a paved hill, but getting to and from it, which is like 2.5 miles just to get to the hill, a lot of grass along the way. So it's kind of like a gravel grass combo. So it's a little soft going down, run the hills fast, come back. All in all, you've done like 6.5 miles with some hills thrown in there. Tomorrow, or no, not tomorrow, another day, it's going to be a track day. So it's a rubberized track, some running on bleachers, things like that. Then on Friday, it's a beach day. And usually Saturdays, sometimes it's a trail day. Sometimes it's a, same type of grass. It's pavement and grass right off to the side of it. But yeah, we'll run on grass. I love it. I'd much rather run on grass than pavement, for sure. Do you think sandbags 120 to 180 pounds are a good way to practice for log, PT, and worm carries? Well, as long as you got multiple people, I don't think you alone need to lift a 120-pound sandbag or 180-pound sandbag. My advice would be to do this. If you got a sandbag like that, put it on a stretcher and you and a buddy carry that stretcher for a while. That's a good one. Great for equipment carry, stretcher carries. But if you have, as long as your sandbag's 40 to 50 pounds, that's all you need. I mean, because if you take a log of 250-pound log and you have 5-6 people under it, everybody's lifting between 40 and 50 pounds. So there you go. Do that for reps. Can you take superfoods if the label says it has nutritional value, like goji berries? I don't know, man. I mean, technically speaking, things like these B vitamins that say supplement facts on them, no, you can't do that. But if you can find, I don't think I have anything down here. My protein upstairs have nutrition facts on it. So there's some Ascent protein that if you look on the back, it's pure protein. Nothing else in it. And it's considered a food, right? It says nutrition facts, not supplement facts. Big difference. I don't know about what's, specifically, on the list of things you can't have. But to my knowledge, supplement facts, absolutely not. Nutrition facts on the label, is a go, but I don't know if there's a limit amongst those as well. When will the brigade workout starts? I'm excited for those. I don't know. Last week was a crazy week with all the drill practice and all that stuff. So, to my knowledge, we're going to try to get them started this week. We've already started the noon swims on Tuesday, Thursdays for those that are preparing for the PST and the screener, and those who want to practice their CSS. So we've already started those. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, we practice swimming for the whole brigade if you want to. And I don't know about the other ones in the morning. They're going to try to get them open. But that we also had tryouts for the team and things like that kept us a little busy. But look for those in this month. September should be the start month for those. Yeah. The hardest part for the kid might just be going into an adult environment. You know what? That's what I tell people all the time. It's not a kid's game. It's not a game at all. You're going to be there with some grown ass men, who've 24, 26 years old, and you're going to feel a little intimidated. So you're right. That's probably one of the biggest mental hurdles a young kid has to get over. Morning, coach. Would you share some advice on building up aerobic base other than goal pace runs or intervals? Should I add some extra zone 2 low impact cardio into your periodization program? Sure, if you need to, go ahead. You can turn any of these runs into a zone 2 if you feel like you need it. Here's the thing. All of these programs are generic programs, right? If you need to personalize it to take the intensity off of a paced run, make it a zone 2 run. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I will say this. The goal of this is to make you faster, right? If you need some extra zone 2 run, that's great. Or if you don't need the impact of that zone 2, and you say you're a bigger guy trying to build your aerobic base, my advice has always been do that with some non-impact cardio, bicard, row, elliptical, things like that to build your aerobic base. Swimming's a great one to build your aerobic base on top of the other running, and have running with a purpose of that fast pace has been very helpful for people to get through those tests, get accepted into these programs, and then meet the standards and exceed the standards of those 4-mile timed runs and beyond. Now, zone 2 is fine. I think zone 2 is a great way to build your aerobic base, but it's not the only way to build your aerobic base. I've seen a lot of people run zone 2 and just get really good at running slow. And they ran a lot of zone 2 to a point where they got injured. So you have to be logical about all of these ways to prepare yourself. And you're right. It doesn't have to be all goal pace or intervals. Turn them into zone 2 if you need them. Add a 6-7 mile run at the end of the week if you need to. Or if you can't do that, maybe try this. Do a brick type workout where you spend 30 minutes biking hard, and then you go right into zone 2 hard, and then you go right into zone 2 for 20-30 minutes right after. You get an hour's worth of zone 2 with half the impact. So it really kind of depends on the person. And once again, generic workouts aren't personalized programs. So depending on the person, I may put a lot of zone 2 in that workout for them, but I don't necessarily do that in a generic form. If you need it, add it. If you need to pass a fitness test at a certain amount of time, work on your pace. How heavy are the boats and logs at Bud's? Have a group of 6 guys, and we're trying to simulate it. You can Google that. It's like 250 to 300 pound logs. And I think the boats are only like 115 pounds, 120 pounds. You can Google it. They're, IBS boats. There's this particular brand, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's got the weight. You can actually buy one if you wanted to. Put it this way, it comes out to about 20 pounds on your head amongst 6 people. So about 120 pounds. Now, there may be water in it, there may be sand in it, there's paddles in it that weigh it down, so it's going to add some more weight to it as well. But the boat itself, that's about where you're looking at. Would you recommend someone who's been picked up for a contract complete your SWIC contract, the 12 weeks to buds, or phase 2-3 programs? Thanks in advance. I'll be honest with you, any of them work. It really kind of depends on where you are on your fitness. You picked up for a contract, you probably can crush the PST. So you don't need the PST one. Probably don't need much of the 12 weeks to buds one either, because big majority of that, well, not majority, but big portion of that is kind of a PST buildup. It gets harder as you go through it, but you may not need that one. So I would probably go with the next level and go with this one. Or if you need to focus on your strength a little bit, go with one of the seasonal periodization. These are all, by the way, these are all my Spec Ops training programs. I just call them something different because a lot of people like getting after it, and this is what we do for that as well. Don't be surprised to see a rise in followers. You know what? I'm perfectly fine the way it is, but hey, more people want to come join and learn. Come join and learn. During what times are the swim? 12:30 Tuesday, Thursday. Scott Natatorium at the Naval Academy. How does a 52-year-old frogman stay for Ray Cash? Stay fit like me. Oh well, you're the one that's fit. I'm just a coach. I tell people what to do. No, I'm doing it with them. Not fast as I used to be, but I'm still grinding. You're looking good though. While swimming the CSS, can you alternate sides? Yes, you can. Or you can swim the entire CSS on one side. But it depends. Some instructor may say you need to be facing me the entire time, and he's standing on the side of the pool. That means every 25 you're going to have to change sides just to keep looking at them. Thoughts on training for PJ while playing rugby? Should I stop playing rugby in case I get hurt? Well, I will tell you this. I played rugby for 3.5 years while I was somewhere in that process of training for buds. Now, I will say this. When I got, and I was injured every year, so it affected my training. But when I got to my last semester and found out I was going to buds in 7 months, I did not play rugby that last semester because I knew I was going to get injured, whether it was concussions, stitches, staples, sprained ankles, whatever, or worse. I'd had it previous semesters and I didn't want to do that to myself, so I didn't play. So that's how I handled it. If you love rugby, have fun, play rugby. But if you're getting close to shipping out, just know your injury could affect your ability to ship out. And your injury will definitely affect how you train today and for the next month, depending on the injury. Let's see here. What's your opinion on hole landing on your heel versus landing flat foot when running? I don't really recommend heel striking at all. I mean, more of a midfoot landing. Would highly recommend that. And if you look, I mean, it may look like someone's hitting on their heel when they run, just slow motion somebody running, maybe even a marathoner. Go on YouTube, marathon, slow motion. And when you see them running, it may look like they're reaching out there and they're landing on their heel, but by the time they put all of their weight on their foot, they're flat footed. So, it kind of depends on, you know, for me, it depends on the length of stride I have. If I overstride, I'm heel striking. If I put that stride back into like a normal stride, I'm midfoot striking. So, problem with heel striking is it's like putting on the brakes if you're really heel striking. Now, if you're just landing on your heel and you're not putting all your weight on it until it's all there, that may be a different story. But take a look at it. You'll see. How would you access emotional maturity? I don't know, man. It's age, it's time. How would one know if they're emotional developed enough? Need to do some emotional self growth. You know what? I wish I had an answer for that. All I know is I was not the same person at 22 that I was at 18. Completely different level of experiences, growth, resilience. I would not have made it through any selection at 18 compared to my 22-year-old self. Um, but, in hindsight, there were times when I was a little bit headstrong, maybe a little confident, overconfident at 22 that I wasn't at 25. And in fact, I think there's some science out there that even says a male's brain, frontal lobe, does not fully uh, develop until age 25. So I don't know. It's time. Time will make you a more resilient person. But as long as you are pushing yourself and doing hard things, you're gonna grow. Whether or not you grow without overconfidence, that's another battle you have to have. You want confidence, you don't want overconfidence. Good morning. Would you recommend the ACFT book, or will Seasonal Tactical Fitness series be enough to prove that test? Well, I will tell you this. It's the old cover, but I've updated it. The Army PFT workout, ACE the PFT, plus the rucking prep. This is actually the CFT prep program. I would go with that if you're really looking to crush the ACFT. Yes, I have deadlifting, I have running, shuttle runs type of stuff in the other seasonal programs, but nothing specific that says throw a medicine ball over your head, do the sprint drag carry. They're not listed like that in the seasonal program, so you would have to add those on your sprint days, on your power days, to specifically address those events. But you're going to run, you're going to do deadlifts, you're going to do plank poses, all of those type of things. So with the others, but the ACFT book, if you really want to crush the ACFT, go with that Army PFT workout. There's an interview, SEAL Dr. Astronaut Johnny Kim, that's getting publicity. In that interview, he cites you and your book and fitness regimen. Yeah, that's very nice of him to do that. He did not need to do that. I think he was on Jocko a few years ago before he was going to be an astronaut, or maybe right as he was in that astronaut program. But yeah, he is quite impressive for sure. All right, let's see. Looks like I've answered everybody. Oh, one more question and then I'm going to go. It's almost an hour long I've been doing this. Regarding summer training cycle, can you define goal pace? Is it 1.5 or 4 mile pace? Both of those have paces, right? Is there two different paces altogether? I I do this. If you haven't read that article that they were talking about earlier, it's about the running plan to get you to and through selection. Read that article because there's two paces. There's a 6-minute mile pace for your mile and a half, and there is a 7-minute mile for your 4-mile timed run, or 5-mile timed run if you want to go Army and do that Ranger 5-miler. That's it. 6 and 7-minute mile pace. You know, whatever your workout is, if you're doing 800s, that means one day you're going to do it at a 6-minute mile pace. Once you get that mile and a half at 9 minutes, you know, you should start focusing on the 4-mile timed runs in 28 minutes. All right, so it's a progressive process. You know, because running fast to get a mile and a half is different than running a little slower for longer to get a 28-minute 4-mile or a 35-minute or faster 5-mile. So that's how we do it. Read that article, Running Plan to Get To and Through Selection, written by me. All right, folks. Well, I guess that's it. That was a good one. I won't be back tomorrow, but I will be back either Wednesday morning or Friday morning. Not sure yet. And it may be Thursday. Just depends on my schedule. Haven't quite made my schedule for this week. But if I missed your question, you can always email me, stu@stewsmith.com. Happy to answer you. Send me some videos. I'll critique them as well, especially for swimming. Maybe even talk about them on the live Q&A if you want to send them either DM on Instagram or you can send them to me by email. Also go to stewsmithfitness.com. Save yourself 15% on any of these programs by using the live15 coupon code. So I appreciate you sticking around. If you're really looking for CSS videos that I do a lot of critiques on, I got nothing but CSS critiques over on TikTok. Address StewSmith50. It's also the same address as Instagram. And on my reels, a whole bunch of CSS video critiques over there as well. You may see something that, oh, I do that. You know, my advice is do this. Have somebody film you doing a 50-yard swim and then compare it to some of these videos that I post on there that are excellent. Or, you know, if you see you're popping your head up too much, you know, see that, you know, turn to breathe, don't pop up to breathe videos that are in there. Whole bunch of articles over at Stu Smith Fitness to help you walk through the CSS. In fact, there's one that's very helpful. It's kind of like this one-stop shop for combat swimmer stroke, and I'll post it up here over here on the YouTube channel, and it's called CSS Help Series. I'll put it over here on Instagram as well. CSS Help Series, quick fix to crushing the swim. That will help you tremendously. But first, you got to learn the technique. Next, you got to learn the conditioning. We got answers for you over there to help you crush that test. Easy day. All right, guys, I'm out of here. You guys have a good one. I'll see you later this week.